finishing our mini-series on upgrading your gear, let's finish off with the magic setup. Hope you guys have enjoyed this mini-series, and if you have any suggestions for guides of this style that you would like to see, please leave it in the comments. I'd be happy to consider it. Links to all my socials are in the description, as well as timestamps for this video as per usual, and let's just jump right into the parameters for magic. Before the parameters, actually, I say magic accuracy a lot in this video, and when I say that, just keep in mind that when I'm talking about a piece of gear and I say magic accuracy, I'm just talking about the magic attack bonus and how it relates to your hit chance or your actual magic accuracy. There is no magic accuracy stat in the game. I'm just shortcutting it by simplifying the terms, is all I'm doing. First parameter is our starting gear, which I'm assuming you're around 75-ish magic and need a very well-fair starting point. So from top to bottom will be a Mystic Hat, the Arcane Cape, a Glory, a God Blessing, Ivan Staff or Trident of the Seas, Mystic Top, Book of Balance, Mystic Bottoms, Combat Bracelet, Mystic Boots, and a Ring of Dueling, or a Ring of Wealth, or a Beacon Ring, or a Lunar Ring, or your ring's kind of irrelevant in this welfare setup. The second parameter is that I will be going over gear that costs at least 300k to upgrade, and due to the fact that being the break point in my mind where a purchase starts to require you to think about, like, is it worth it? Before you pull the trigger and buy it. Anything below that price point I generally see as an, oh, this is probably useful, yeet, and then you just put the offer into the G and you get it. So with those two parameters, let's start with what our end game setup will look like. So our end game setup from top to bottom is going to look like this. It'll be the Ancestral Hat, Imbued God Cape, Occult Necklace, Rada's Blessing 4, Kodai Wand or Sanguinesti Staff, Ancestral Robe Top, Arcane Spirit Shield, Ancestral Robe Bottoms, Tormented Bracelet, Eternal Boots, and a Seer's Ring Imbued. And as I've said in the other videos, I know it's a very expensive setup, but we are going to build up to it on the way. In terms of selling gear to upgrade, there's not a lot of gear in the Magic Combat Triangle that's really worth selling off gear to obtain, besides like maybe the Tormented Bracelet, but besides that, there's not like a really big payoff item like there is in range or melee where it's worth selling off a bunch of gear to get. It's not, there's no like equivalent of a twisted bow or a scythe. It just doesn't exist in the magic tree. So don't really worry about selling gear to upgrade stuff. There's like one area where that's okay, but other than that, just don't worry about it. And yes, I will go into what that one area is. I'm not trying to debate you. Okay, first upgrade, we're going to get rid of the Glory and upgrade it into our Occult Necklace. This necklace only gives +2 magic accuracy over the Glory, but the real strength of this is the plus 10% magic damage boost it gives us, and with it only costing around 850k, it's a great pickup for our setup, plus a damage boost stacks with the Black Mask and Slayer Helmet. In case you don't know what magic damage is, I'm going to explain it really quick. So opposed to range and melee, both of those trees have strength. They have like range strength, or they just have strength bonus in general. Magic has straight magic damage to consider. So when we get like a plus 10% boost to our damage, let's say your max hit with Ice Barrage is 30, which is the max damage or the max hit of that spell. With the Occult Necklace, it now increases to 33 because of the magic damage boost. It's also important to note that your magic level doesn't increase your magic damage. Each spell has a fixed max hit. So like Air Strike, your max hit is 2, Water Strike is 4, Earth Strike is 6, Fire Strike is 8, Ice Barrage is 30. That was all off the top of my head. I don't know all of them, but you get the idea. Your magic level only increases your magic defense and accuracy. So don't think because you have a higher magic level that like Ice Barrage is going to hit harder. The only time that that's different is with like Trident, Sanguinesti Staff, Trident of the Swamp, those kind of staves. Yes, your magic level does increase your damage because like the higher your magic level is, the higher your max hit. But in terms of like Ice Barrage and normal elemental spells, no, your magic level doesn't increase your damage, only your accuracy. Moving on to weapons, we have two styles of weapons when it comes to magic, and that's our powered staves, which are staves that are charged with runes or other items that hold charges and don't require you to have runes in your inventory to cast them. Think Trident, think Sanguinesti Staff, you get the point. And normal staves, which don't store any runes, or charges, and are used in the more traditional sense, requiring runes to cast spells. Think ancient staff, think elemental staffs, think Kodai wand, think all this. First off, let's start with the powered staff. So right now, you may have a Trident of the Seas. Let's upgrade that into the Trident of the Swamp, which requires 75 magic to wield and costs around 3.2 mil GP. The staff is charged with 1 Death Rune, 1 Chaos Rune, 1 Zulrah Scale, and 5 Fire Runes per cast, which is about 466 GP per cast at the moment. The staff can hold 2500 charges and has a +3 max hit over the Trident of the Seas. This is a great upgrade, and I recommend this to almost anybody because the +3 max hit is great. And people ask a lot of time, like, why is it so great? And the best thing I can do to explain this is that when you hit with your staff, like when you roll like hit or miss and your staff actually hits, instead of it rolling damage between 0 and 20 if you're using a Trident of the Seas, it now rolls between 0 and 23 for damage. Think D&D, if you've ever played D&D, when you roll for damage, now you roll a D23 instead of a D20. So you now have 3 more potential rolls that can do more damage than the max damage of the normal Trident, making it a very nice DPS increase. It also has +10 magic accuracy over the normal Trident, as well as having the ability to venom and poison opponents, but these aren't really the reason why you take this upgrade. Next in the category is the Sanguinesi Staff, or the Bat Blaster, or the Spaghetti Staff, or whatever the fuck you want to call it. This also requires 75 magic to wield and costs around 98 mil to 100 mil GP. Quite a steep increase here. It is charged with 3 blood runes and holds 20,000 charges, requiring a total of 60,000 blood runes to max out the staff, costing 1k per cast, or about 20.5 mil to fully charge the staff. Staff only gives you +1 max hit over the Trident of the Swamp, but it does have a 1 in 8 chance of healing half of what you deal, which is a great quality of life effect with the staff. It makes things like soloing Chambers of Zarek much easier. Now for normal staffs. The first big staff to purchase here is the Staff of the Dead because it gives +17 magic accuracy and +15% magic damage, and has a 1 in 8 chance of negating the rune cost for the spell and costs 7.6 mil, requiring 75 attack and magic to wield. This can be upgraded to the Toxic Staff of the Dead via the use of a Magic Fang and 59 crafting, which increases the magic accuracy to 25, and has the ability to venom the opponent, but the staff will require Zulrah Scales to use, so that will be up to you. Also, in terms of autocast options, you can autocast the basic elemental spells, as well as Flames of Zamorak, Crumble Undead, and the Magic Dart spell. The next thing to talk about, I'm going to lump together, are the wands, and the 2 wands I'm mainly going to talk about are the Master Wand and the Kodai Wand, requiring 60 and 75 magic respectively. The Master Wand costs around 4.7 mil GP and gives +20 magic accuracy bonus with no magic damage increase. The huge draw of this is that it allows you to autocast ancient magics. Now, the Kodai Wand costs considerably more at about 82 mil GP, but it gives +28 magic attack bonus, +15% magic damage, and is unlimited water runes. So it's a massive upgrade over the Master Wand. All the while, you're still able to autocast ancient magics, which is what anybody really wants to be doing, making this one a great addition if you're bursting or barraging a considerable amount. Yes, I'm looking at you, those of you that grind Slayer all day, or those of you that just like to hide in the Monkey Madness 2 caves for like days on end. So in conclusion, get a Trident of the Seas and upgrade it to the Trident of the Swamp when you can. The +3 max hit is great. Most of the staves you don't need to worry about unless you get something like a Kodai because of the magic damage increase. If you're looking to autocast Ancients though, you don't really need to worry about the Master Wand. It's +5 magic accuracy over the Ancient Staff. So really just use the Ancient Staff. It's stupid cheap and you know what? Gets the job done. We're going to upgrade our top and bottom now from Mystic into Ahrim's, which requires 70 defense and magic to wear, and together cost around 4.5 mil for the top and bottom. They cost about the same, and they get the same like difference in accuracy bonus, so pick whichever one you want first. The top gives +30 magic accuracy, and the bottom gives +22 magic accuracy, which combined is a +17 accuracy increase when compared to wearing Mystic top and bottom. The catch to Ahrim's is that it does degrade over time in combat, meaning you do have to repair it by either talking to Bob in Lumbridge or use it on an armor stand in a POH. The repair cost on a stand scales with your smithing level, getting as low as 166.6k at 99 smithing to repair from a completely degraded piece of arrows. Next, we'll upgrade the offhand into a Book of Darkness, which costs around 700k to buy all the pages from the GE, and requires you to have completed the Horror from the Deep quest. The book, when completed, gives you plus 10 magic accuracy, which is a good increase from the plus 4 of the Book of Balance, and like all god books, it does give you plus 5 to prayer bonus, which if you are ever having to prayer, which most of the time you do in Magic, it's nice to have. Okay, we've upgraded our gear to a decent bit where I would say it's time to invest into a Tormented Bracelet, which requires 75 HP to wear and costs around 14 mil GP. It gives you plus 5% increase to your magic damage and plus 10 to your magic accuracy. This is one of the more cost efficient pieces of gear to buy that gives you magic damage, so we want to try to save for this sooner rather than later. So compared to our combat bracelet, which only gives us like plus 3 magic accuracy, yeah, it's kind of a no-brainer. This thing's insane. If you do need a stepping stone in between the two, obviously you can wear your Barrow's gloves. They give plus 6 magic accuracy, which is a nice in-between for the two of them. For the ring, you have like one realistic option and one kind of like universal option. With the realistic option being the Seer's ring, which costs a little under 500k, gives plus 6 magic accuracy, plus 12 if it's imbued for 650k points from Nightmare Zone. The universal ring option we have is the Brimstone ring at 5.7 mil GP, and this ring gives the stat bonuses of all the DK rings as if they weren't imbued. It's a great hybrid ring basically. It also has a 25% chance to ignore 10% of the target's total magic defense, but this isn't really a big draw to the item. The catch being that you can't imbue this ring, so it's a very jack of all trades, master of none kind of item. It's great when learning solo chambers or doing chambers in general, and sometimes it even outperforms the Berserker ring at Chambers of Xeric, given like you have certain gear versus like max gear. Sometimes the Brimstone ring is better. Again, very niche here, but it's a good all-around ring to have. Get your Imbued God Cape, by the way. I know Mage Arena 2 for a lot of people is kind of daunting, but if you have like 75 to 80 magic, it's really not that bad in welfare gear, meaning like Zeretian robes or monk robes. It's the best in slot Mage Cape, gives you plus 2% magic damage, and for a cape slot that doesn't really cost you anything to buy, like in terms of buying actual gear, the only cost to it is buying the runes it takes to unlock the god spells and to use them to kill the monsters. It's a pretty dandy piece of gear to have if you ask me, and they look pretty freaking dope. Next up, buy your Eternal Boots or Infinity Boots as an intermediate purchase. The Eternals require 75 defense and magic to wear, while the Infinities require 50 magic and 25 defense to wear, giving plus 8 and plus 5 magic accuracy respectively. The big difference is the price between them being around 4.7 mil for Eternals and less than 1 mil for Infinities. Still, when looking at the top tier boots like the Cerberus boots, you know, Primordials, Pegasians, Eternals, Magic definitely has the lowest costed boots at only 4.7 mil. But this is because the bonus you get for having them is kind of lackluster when comparing the other two. So they're still worth getting for sure, because I mean, you're paying 4.7 mil for plus 5 magic or plus 8 magic accuracy. It's nice to have. It's a decent rate. Let me put it that way. It's a decent rate. Okay, so we have that Mystic Hat still. We're going to upgrade that straight into an Ancestral Hat because it costs around 15 mil, is best in slot, requires 75 magic and defense to wear, but the big draw is that it gives us plus 2% magic damage, and like we said earlier, magic damage is a great thing, so we will take it whatever way we can get it. And compared to the Ancestral Top and Bottom, the rate on the hat in terms of damage per GP is significantly better at being like 7.5 mil GP per magic damage increase, versus like the almost 30 mil per magic damage increase when talking about the top and bottom. Should also throw it in there, if you like never use magic outside of Slayer, then Magic Hat doesn't really apply to you, because you know Slayer helmet's just, I don't know, Slayer helmet's just better. So if you never mage outside of Slayer, then don't worry about this. But if you do anything like Chambers or Zora, yeah, I guess those two, yeah, go ahead and get the Ancestral Hat. Let's upgrade the offhand now into a Mage's Book, and this will be what we're using until we eventually get an Arcane Spirit Shield, if we ever get to that point. This requires 60 magic to wield and costs around 4.2 mil GP. It gives us 15 magic accuracy, which is only 5 less than the Arcane, and that's for like 1/20th of the cost. So it's definitely more efficient than the Arcane Spirit Shield for sure. Now the top and bottom. We will upgrade into Ancestral Top and Bottom, starting with the top first in terms of purchasing due to price per benefit, because it gives us +6 accuracy over the Ahrim's top, as well as giving us +2% magic damage, and requires us to have 75 magic and defense, but it costs around 59 mil versus the Ancestral Robe Bottoms, which costs around 63 mil, so it's a 4 mil difference. And when you actually compare this to the Ancestral Robe Bottoms, and you compare like the benefit they give over Ahrim's, the top gives +6 accuracy over Ahrim's, and the bottoms give +5 accuracy over Ahrim's. So the Ancestral Robe Bottoms actually give less benefit over the Ahrim's than compared to the top, and they cost more. So it's just more efficient for us to buy the Ancestral Robe top. The reason that the Ancestral Robe Bottoms cost more is because when you're doing Chambers of Xeric, it's generally considered more meta to wear like Bandos Chestplate and then wear your Ancestral Robe Bottoms instead of like rocking the Ancestral Robe top the entire time. So the Ancestral Robe Bottom sees more use, or it sees more play than the Ancestral Robe top in most cases, and that's why it's generally more expensive than the top. The very last thing we will purchase will be an Arcane Spirit Shield, because we are spending over 100, I can't believe I'm saying this, 135 mil for, get this, 135 mil for +5 magic accuracy and +3 prayer bonus, which, I mean, that's not a good rate. It's really not. You don't need to take basic finance or economics to even understand that. Like, this should really only be bought when you have like a large excess of money after you've bought like everything else. I guess I should talk about Augury, because people brought up Rigor in the comments of the last video. Augury, it costs like, I don't know, 4-5 mil. Gives you some nice magic accuracy. Yeah, you can get it kind of early. I would probably get it right before you get like the Ancestral Robe top and bottom, because that's a pretty big, like, it's a pretty big financial investment. So just get the prayer scroll then. It's pretty cheap. Just yeet some money at the GE for it. So the Imbued Heart I'm going to talk about here, and it's a very good magic potion where a magic potion only boosts your magic level by 4. This can boost your magic level by 10 if you're level 90. If the way the boost works is if you're 1 through 9 it's 1, 10 through 19 it's 2, 20 through 29 it's 3. You see the trend hopefully, and it just boosts your magic level by that. And like we discussed earlier, magic level does not necessarily mean more damage when doing normal spells, but it does increase your accuracy. This is very good for things like the Trident or the Sanguinesi staff, because as I did mention earlier, the higher your magic level, the more damage you do. So remember, elemental staves, elemental spells, level doesn't mean more damage. For powered staves like Tridents or Sanguinesi staves, higher levels mean more damage. So the Imbued Heart is great for those. So the nice thing about Magic is that there really isn't a whole lot of like niche gear that's situationally used. It's pretty much you use the same gear for everything. If you're interested in what gear to use for bursting, I did a comparison video on that in the description, which if you're curious on that and want to see like the in-depth analysis behind the gear and the spell to use, check that out. But TLDW, Ancestral is better than Vestment Robes, is better than Proselyte in terms of DPS. The Ancient Wyvern Shield is like useless, kind of. It sees some use because you almost never want to mage dragons except for like possibly metal dragons, and even then you should really only be killing mithrils and possibly steels if you need like points. But if that's the case, I'd still rather bring something like a DHL or a Dragon Hunter crossbow personally, for the 30% magic accuracy and damage increase, or not magic accuracy but 30% accuracy and damage increase, rather than, you know, spending like almost 30 mil on a wyvern shield. Well, that's going to put a bow on this mini-series. It's been a pleasure making it. I've enjoyed going through and researching all this gear again. As usual, please let me know if there's any gear I didn't cover in this video that you would like me to talk about, or if you have any suggestions for the next guide of this style. I would love to hear them in the comment section. I really have enjoyed making this style of content, so if you have any suggestions, please let me know. Thank you guys very much for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Also, ring that bell if you want more notifications about my channel and when new videos come out. Links to all my socials are in the description. description, and I'll catch you guys in the next video. Thanks for watching.